On the Roy's report, you will see that there is an exclusive. The Daystar couple tell the police their suspicions. The brother-in-law abused baby lamb. Pete's identity revealed. We no longer have to call him Pete. We haven't been for a while, but the Roy's report has made it official. We all know that Pete is Joshua Brown, the husband of Rachel, the brother-in-law to Jonathan and Susie, the one that was had a letter written about by JW and Rebecca. That is going to come up. And so Julie has now brought about an opportunity for us to see all of these interviews. And I will say then that there's a couple things I want to say right off the start. And that is that you are going to hear JW and Rebecca talk about Pete in ways which we have known, but we're unable to verify through their words. They call him a narcissist, basically a liar, and they say that they do believe that something went down. What will remain, and hopefully JW and Rebecca will come to terms and realize that they need to produce that letter that JW wrote. It needs to be put forward. You will see later in some of the clips that this presents a bit of a concern to the lawyer. And you will also see the lawyer of Joni Lamb basically not necessarily wanting the right thing done, but wanting protection, the cover-up culture. I'll start reading just a few things here before we get to the first clips. It's been almost a year since the Roy's report exposed Daystar TV's alleged cover-up of the sexual abuse of the young daughter of former Daystar executive Jonathan Lamb and his wife Susie. Since then, more than 24 broadcast ministries have left the Christian network, and the Lamb family dynasty has remained sharply divided. On one side are Jonathan and Susie, who brought abuse allegations against a family member whom TRR called Pete in its previous reporting. They are now saying it is Joshua Brown. Subsequently, the parents were fired from their jobs, Jonathan as Daystar vice president and Susie as co-host of a Daystar program the couple hosted together. On the other side, Jonathan's mother, Daystar president Joni Lamb, who's accused of orchestrating the cover-up to protect Pete. Seemingly aligning with her have been her daughters, Rachel Lamb Brown and Rebecca Lamb Weiss, and their spouses, all of whom are Daystar employees and appear routinely on network shows. What is going to become very evident, and as Julie Royce has stated, there's going to be another interview coming this week, and that is the cleaning lady of Joni Lamb, a nameless, faceless until now woman in the background who saw everything. She saw enough to know who's telling the truth and who's lying. And if you remember that whole part about where Joshua Brown was, Redwig says, he's up here, he's there. Redwig was telling us what Joshua Brown was saying. There's a person who saw it. Her name is Sylvia, and it looks like she is going to be having her day to speak, and it's going to be blockbuster. That's later this week. So for now, let's get started with the interviews of Rebecca and JW. There's two interviews that you will see. One where they are a little bit more guarded. The next interview, they seem to be willing to just share it all. Here we go.
You guys got any questions for me before we start? It'll be very quick and painless.
I don't think I have questions. I'm just grateful to you reach out because, we've wanted to do the right thing the whole time. This stuff has been going on from the very beginning. And so literally the last thing that we had felt, was what if we talked to somebody at the police department and we didn't even know how to do that. So we appreciate it.
And then you reached out to us. We're like, oh, perfect.
Yeah, it's good timing.
Well, yeah, I would have done it a little sooner, but I guess I kind of had the feeling like, of course it was inaccurate, I kind of had the feeling that you guys just didn't want to talk to me. Because I relayed messages, but after I asked you, when was the last time you talked to Jonathan and Susie, you said 18 months or so.
Yeah.
A very important point I want to make as we get started is this officer says, I want to make this quick and painless. We don't want it quick and painless. We want an interrogation that is thorough and truthful. It doesn't have to be quick or painless. And then he says, the officer then says, I would have maybe got in touch with you sooner, but it was kind of getting passed around or whatever. I want you to notice that through these interrogations, there is a lack of intensity. It's lackadaisical. It's like, oh yeah, we want this to be easy for everyone. No, this is very serious. And I'm concerned that this is where this has kind of gone wrong. I don't even understand, after hearing what we're about to hear today, why this is closed. I don't understand why this is closed with what we're going to hear and what the housekeeper knows, Sylvia. Okay? That's coming this week. But even with what JW and Rebecca are going to tell us, this should not be quick and easy. This should be thorough, and maybe it should take a little bit longer. So many questions that are needing to be asked never get asked, and that's alarming to me. Let's go to the next clip. We begin to get into some meat.
In 2020, yeah, that was 2020, when he said she walked in on me naked.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that?
That was weird.
Those two
That
incidents.
wasn't the Florida thing, though, right?
No, that was a different
That was
Florida.
the year before.
In Florida.
So that, the two things, and then the other Florida.
The
And
year
then
before,
That's everything.
So there's two things in Florida, I guess.
Mhm.
One 2020, one 2021. Okay, 2020 is when he said she walked in on him, and 21 is when he was allegedly watching her change her.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I would frame that.
Okay. That actually makes a lot more sense to me. So, let's see. You think that you guys still have a record of that Google Doc or anything?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you think I'd be able to get it? Copy of it?
Yeah. We'll get that.
Okay. Yeah. No rush. So,
I can do Jerry now.
either.
I don't know how to.
Can you email it to you, I guess?
You should be able to. Yeah. I think.
Can you do that?
Sure.
From your phone?
Yeah.
Uh,
Do you want it CC to you?
yeah, if you don't mind. If
Sure.
you can just give him that and just see it.
Sure. Again, it's nothing like formal. It was just kind of
Yeah,
like,
but-
this is.
Yeah.
I'm happy to share it. It was like, these are the things that we're in this family, right? And these are things that we have seen that we're concerned about, And so it was just written out. I don't know. I never thought that it was going to see the light of day.
Well, this-
It is.
You're gathering your thoughts, because we
Yeah, I
were
really
like,
was.
we were trying to figure out, is there, like, was this an accident, or is there, like, because we care.
Yeah.
About her, we care about our kids. I mean,
And
we just
at
took
the
it
end of the day,
seriously.
despite like Josh's character and the way he's treated my wife and I,
Yeah.
and like our family,
And our,
we
Oh,
have been, professional and loving in the sense that we could have gone online and smeared him and like jumped on this a long, long time ago.
because he's wronged us.
But because we've never seen anything incriminating, we just kept it between us and the professionals. You being one of them, and so it's like.
Because it's like, I don't know for sure if he did
That's
or
one of the
not.
worst things you can be accused of.
And so I'm
and not
like,
be.
if you tell the whole world and it's not true,
Mm-hmm.
that's wrong.
That's one of those things. I'm not here to. My job is not to find the people and make them go to jail or anything. My job is to hear everything, and if they're innocent, prove they're innocent. If they're guilty, prove they're guilty.
Yeah.
That's it. So, I mean, it's 50-50 things.
And we want to know
I feel 50-50
the
on this.
truth. We want to know the truth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would too.
Yeah.
Well, that's part of it is, that letter keeps as a recurring theme. So I wouldn't be any good at my job if I didn't even ask about it.
I guess my request would be
His email, he says, yeah.
Yeah.
if I do, or when I do send it, can we just agree to keep it private? Because the last thing I want is another thing online being sensationalizing. But I'm happy that.
So the information that was released.
Okay, so I want to point out a couple of things. This is the first interview, January 21st. The next interview they are a lot more forthcoming. In this interview, you just heard, we want the truth. And he says, we haven't really seen anything incriminating, but you will see that they absolutely have seen things that are incriminating. This interview, it seemed like Jonathan, JW, and Rebecca were, wanting to be very careful. We don't want something to go out there that's not true. They realize that JW has written a letter that the police is saying, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't, ask you for that letter. Yes, you wouldn't be. That letter is very important. And you will see that they will produce the letter eventually. And they don't allow the police to have it. My encouragement at this point is JW and Rebecca, please do the right thing. I see their hearts actually. For the first time, I see sort of the predicament that they been put in, and that they want the truth. And if you will hear later, Rebecca saying, if Pete or Joshua Brown is a PEDO, we definitely want that outed and we want the truth told. On the other hand, they're grappling with what they've seen and, are we the ones bringing this forward? Yes, this is all extremely, extremely important. And you will see between this interview they're doing now and an interview that they are going to do in a week from this point, there's a bit of a difference in how they come across. All right, let's take a look at another clip.
So I'm really just interested in the stuff relevant to this stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
like, I know I'm joking about the Diet Coke thing, but if you have gripes with Daystar, with all due respect, I don't care about Daystar and this whole thing. I just care about Ari. So,
Us too.
Us
We
too.
really care about. And I feel like at the end of the day, she's been the biggest.
Victim.
Yeah, in the sense that, whether or not something happened to her, this is going to haunt her for a long time.
It is.
Just the internet. And so, and why they're doing it publicly like this is ridiculous to me, but.
yeah, and I agree with you that way that she's the victim of this whole thing. So,
Yeah.
regardless if she was a victim
that's
of
why-
assault or not,
Yeah.
whatnot. So.
When we saw the things that we saw, whether or not they were either just creepy and weird, or we just went and told the parents immediately, because that's what I would want someone to do
Yeah.
if somebody saw something.
Exactly.
Wouldn't you?
Okay, so if we're able to stop that right there. Yeah, so now he's beginning, he's saying, at first he's saying, we didn't see anything, but whether these things are creepy, weird, it gets into the place where they do feel, very, very alarmed at the actions of Joshua Brown. And I would have to say that, they're saying why, and I'm going to be defending Jonathan and Susie this whole time, because I do know the backstory. I do know why they did the things that they did. I do know why they've gone public, and that is because there was no support to get the help that they needed until they did go public. They had to. This family was not going to deal with this, specifically coming from Joni Lamb at the top. From the moment that the child spoke to Joni Lamb, the child shut down. Joni Lamb did not want to go to the police. Susie said, I'm going to take the child to the police. Shut it down. This is the cover-up family of the century. That is why this had to go to this level. They have covered for Rachel repeatedly, and in all that JW and Rebecca have wanted to do, they could have done more. And I hope that they will do the right things going forward. I do see that they have a good heart. They do love the Lord. They even state that earlier in this interview. We love the Lord. They want to see the truth come out. And for goodness sakes, it's time for that letter to come out. Let's continue.
You have kids.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But
I wouldn't
my-
be as level-headed as you, but
I don't think I was.
I don't know if he'll be level-headed.
Yeah.
It just wasn't our kid.
It wasn't my
As
kid.
an
So we
example,
had-
he told me if he saw anyone, his daughter like that, then he would
He would have
become
gone
a
ballistic.
defense attorney.
Yeah.
But he's not our kid. We defer to the parents.
I
And
wanted their respect there. Maybe
my-
they were cool with that.
well, no, my
Boundary-wise.
brother, my brother eventually came to us and said, I don't know if he did something or not, but I'm forgiving him and I'm dropping it.
really.
Yes. That's one of the reasons why we didn't. That's one of the reasons why we're like, okay, if you're letting it go, we haven't seen anything incriminating. There's nothing we can do. You're the parent. If that's your choice, we have to respect that.
And he told you that the same. Told you
Yeah,
the
he
same
told
I
thing.
me.
did it more than
Separately.
once.
Because I remember going to him and I said something along the lines of like, you really don't think Josh did this? And he said, I don't know, but I know that I prayed over him, and when I prayed over him and forgave him, I felt that something break off of me. That's a direct quote. I felt something break off of me, and I'm moving on from that.
Yeah, and when I asked him, I was like, are you going to pursue this or he said, I don't know if he did it or not, but I forgive him regardless, and I'm letting it go. So I'm like, okay, that's his decision.
I was going to keep going around saying that Josh is weird. The dynamics in the family are already terrible.
That's part of the thing too, is the interpersonal relationships.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, interpersonal relationships are difficult. And I have some insider knowledge regarding some of these things. And Jonathan and Susie, as soon as this incident happened, they go to Joni and Marcus at the beach house, and they are told, first of all, the culture, you forgive. You're a Christian, you forgive. We have no evidence. Rachel then tells Marcus that Pete Joshua Brown has been exonerated. Rachel lies. We know that now. Outright lies, because Debbie Lenhart and Denise Boggs have both been on this show saying that Josh Brown was never exonerated. So Rachel makes this whole thing up. She calls Marcus and says that Joshua Brown has been exonerated. From that point on, Marcus and Joni, there is extreme pressure all over Jonathan and Susie to forgive, to let this go, because we have no evidence. That is basically what they've been told. Until Jonathan and Susie get the truth. Once they get the truth, that is when all holy hell hits, because that is when they go to a social worker, basically, who then puts pressure on the police to open the investigation. Because prior to that, the police, they had tried, and the police didn't want to do anything about it. And this is where I say, I'm not understanding completely, except that Daystar's a bigwig in the Colleyville area. Daystar has all the money. Daystar has all the power. Daystar has the microphone. So that if the police are maybe doing something that they don't want, well, maybe there could be backlash against the police, except it's kind of going to be backlash for not doing it, because the microphones are now with the podcasters. And so, in essence, when JW and Rebecca are here saying, that they didn't want to do anything, that Jonathan was saying he was trying to be forgiving, yeah, that's because he didn't have more. They didn't have the evidence. They didn't have the truth that Joshua Brown was never exonerated. And so that's sort of how it, got to that place. So we have the highlight reel, and we're going to play sort of the pivotal clips that I believe that you need to hear. So take a look.
That'd be cool if we all got along.
Yeah, that's what we would want.
Whatever.
Yeah. It's been rough.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, especially with the little one too.
Yeah.
Can't be easy. Well, I guess most of the details I got about you guys, or questions I have about you guys, is from all the information that's being just shot out there.
Sure.
One of the things that was mentioned repeatedly was you guys don't allow Josh at the house. Is the kind of the same thing, because he's just weird?
Yeah, because one of the things that he would do is he has been really bad to us through the years, and he would treat us one way when my sister was there or my mom was there, and then when no one was there, he would be, when they were there, he would be decent to us, and when no one was around, he would be mean. And I saw him be that way with my kids.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my kids are not dealing with that kind of behavior.
Yeah.
And I'm super protective of my kids anyway. And we didn't have a friendship, so there was no reason for him to come to our
I'll
house.
stop for a second. So what they're describing is a very evil person in Joshua Brown. Joshua Brown is duplicitous. This is the kind of guy that acts one way in front of Joni Lamb and Rachel. And he acts a different way in front of Rebecca and JW. And of course, Rebecca and JW, as you will hear a little bit later, they're not important to Joshua Brown because they're not the ones who are going to be the future leaders of Daystar. Because Joshua Brown had one thing in mind, to get into the Daystar family so that he could get the funds that goes with it, so he could get the position that goes with it. He married the girl that goes with it, Rachel. And Rebecca and JW, they mean nothing to him. He has to suck up basically to Jonathan and Susie, keep them happy, and of course his mother-in-law, Joni. And so what he's capable of being and how he is capable of acting is duplicitous, and it says a lot about his character. Take a look.
For him to come to our house, but I don't trust him.
But then after the allegations came out from
That was
then it was like, yeah, you're just not allowed here.
Yeah, that was enough for us.
Yeah.
So it was.
But there was other reasons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he's a jerk and.
Yeah.
You don't think he's treating your kids right.
Correct.
Okay.
We caught him like being mean to our son once when he didn't know we were looking.
He has manipulative behavior.
And I was just kind of like, I don't want to deal. I don't
I've
want
caught
my kid
him
to
lying.
deal with that. You know. So it's one thing to be mean to me and Rebecca and I as adults. You know, that's like just not tolerable in a professional environment, in my opinion. But you're not going to do things to my kids.
That's where I draw the
That's
line.
Not going to happen.
My kids aren't going to have to deal with that kind of back and forth behavior where 1 second you're nice and then you flip on a dime. You know, and then so it's one of the reasons why I don't trust him.
Okay. That clarifies it for me.
So right here, this is where the officer, in my opinion, maybe he's a junior, maybe he's just learning, but these people are actually giving you evidence on the kind of person that is a sociopath, perhaps. Allegedly, he's mean, he's a liar, and this guy, he doesn't want to really pursue that anymore. Oh, yeah, I get what you mean. You know, everyone has one of them in the family, you know. I mean, just we're dealing with the fact that we think a child has been harmed by a certain person. And the police have been given this evidence. And right in front of them are the folks who are trying to tell him that this guy's a liar. He's nasty. He's 1 minute he's nice, the next minute he's not. I'd like to know more from Rebecca on her experience with that. I would like to hear more from JW, who's like, yes, that's what he's like. Instead, the officer is not willing to investigate, to dig and drill down into that. And I cannot even fathom that this case is not reopened or still open.